Hi guys, welcome to another edition of All Things Football. If you are watching this, please don't forget to click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. With me today, we've got two guests, Ziad Parker, who's always been with me in terms of Sportycast. He's the host of Sportycast, as well as Sajid Ibrahim, who's a resident with All Things Football. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So today's episode is basically about transfer rumors, what to make of it. How many of the transfer rumors are true? How many of them are made up? And what is the reason for being made up? And how do we get, to get through all of those rumors? How do we get to know what are the real ones, the ones that we should take note of, and what are the ones that, are there to cause a scene? So, Ziad, you've got current transfer rumors. Let us go through some of the rumors that are happening in today's football world, and then we can sort of work out what are the real ones and what are the ones that are not going to be worth taking note of.
Yeah, so I just got a couple of the main ones here that we'll go through. I won't go through all of them, but one of the hottest new rumors coming out today, a story from the Bundesliga where Robert Lewandowski is apparently keen on a new challenge, which is a very interesting situation because, if we think about the other rumor that's out there, Harry Kane to Manchester City, if Lewandowski becomes available, that could put the Harry Kane move in jeopardy. So, yeah, those are two interesting ones at the top end. Then you've got, I have to bring Arsenal in for a bit here, but Arsenal on the verge of completing the signing with Odegaard and Aaron Ramsdale coming over from Sheffield. And apparently there's a couple more moves that they're interested in. One of their big targets is Kieran Trippier at right back, but there is competition for him from a couple of other clubs, including the likes of Manchester United and so on. Couple more rumors just to go through. One of the biggest ones, I suppose, is the Kylian Mbappe rumor, where he's apparently keen to leave PSG and move to Madrid, which we all got onto because of the big rumor that started our interest in this topic, which was Ronaldo moving from Juventus back to Real Madrid. So Sajid, if you can take us through the Ronaldo saga a bit more, because that was quite interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Ziad. That was interesting, but I think also damaging to football. One likes to think of the positives of the game, but when it comes to rumors, it's not necessarily always something that reflects positively on the clubs and also positively on the players. And in the Ronaldo instance, from what I've observed in the media, is a very close friend of his decided that he's going to go on a Spanish program, Al Chiringuito, and decided to create media hype by, going on and saying that he's going to move to Real Madrid and Ancelotti wants him, and it created this huge hype, and the difference between a rumor and something that is substantial is basically if it's put down on contract where there's an agreement in place between principally the player as well as the agent and the club, then there's an agreement in place and the player will be able to move. But when it's a rumor, this is only taking place for hearsay. And in the case of Ronaldo, I believe it was one of his close friends that he frequents with, that he goes out with, that decided that he's going to say that he's coming to Real Madrid, and then Ronaldo had to then come out, as we all observed in the papers and in the media, to completely disagree. And for players, especially a player of high caliber like Ronaldo, to come out and do something like that, it's a reputational damage, not only to him but to the sport, because we have youngsters, we have people watching the game, and it brings the sport into disrepair. And it's something that I totally don't agree with. Rumors and things like that is something that I believe shouldn't be fundamentally part of the sport, but it's going to be with us whether we like it or not, because there will always be, whether it's agents, media pundits, trying to push players from one club to another to create hype. So you'll always have the situation. I guess on the one side it creates excitement because there's that connection that we always have, that maybe Mbappe will move to Real Madrid. So it creates an anticipation and excitement. But also on the other hand, there's a type of disrespect for the current club of that player. And one feels for the pressure that owner should be under, because they've invested in that player. and they have to now deal with the consequence of these media outlets trying to push players who are based at the club might have to go play somewhere else. So rumors and is something that can be, for me, very, very damaging to club's reputation. And in the case of this Ronaldo incident, it went too far for the player to come out that, and for him to say in his monologue that he wrote, or at the end of it, it's just talk. That's all it is.
So yeah, that raises the big question: is if the rumors are not true, what did they get out of it? What was the reason behind it? And if it's a friend of his, that's putting his friendship on the line by coming out and saying that he's going to move and Ancelotti wants him, it makes you think that something somewhere else is trying to gain from it. And I think one case in point perhaps would be betting agencies, where they betting websites where they would say, okay, the odds of the transfer happening are so and so, bet on it, and you would win so much if it happens. So they could potentially gain, but who else or what else do you think is behind the fact that we could read rumors and it's not true?
Yeah, it's quite multifaceted. I think in this case there's a couple of options. Like his friend could have done it for financial reasons. These tabloids and some of these media outlets, they come out and they offer you big sums of money just for anything. And the other reasons could be personal. Maybe he wants some attention. We didn't know who he was until it came out that he leaked the story. And sometimes the players themselves put their friends up to it. So Ronaldo could have asked him to leak it, which I guess from Ronaldo's reaction, we can't go that route. But I mean, it's happened in the past where players want certain things out in the media because it gives them leverage. And if you look at the Kane situation, especially, Kane's leaked certain details into the media, such as, the gentleman's agreement he has with Daniel Levy to leave if certain things are in place and whatever the case is. And that makes the club look bad because it's like, you made an agreement, but now you don't want him to leave. But at the same time, the club is in a position where they can't let him leave for peanuts. They gave him the security of a 3-4 year deal. You can't just walk out after signing it and be like, okay, cool, and to move on. So I think players use it for leverage. They do it to get moves to certain places they want to go. They use it to get new contracts. I mean, we've seen it before. A player's on the verge of leaving, is upset, and suddenly a new 5-year deal with his wages substantially increased. Agents do it to get better commercial deals or to get better contracts, or, at the end of the day, it's all a power play to see who has the leverage. Sometimes clubs leak the information because they might want to move a player or, get a player sold for less, lower his value, or whatever the case is. So yeah, a lot of different options.
Absolutely, Ziad. And if I can just latch onto something that you said there, it for me, it boils down to the aspect of money. And I think Wasim also mentioned it with respect to the gambling industry. It's quite big in football. There are so many. Sometimes as a non-gambler, sometimes I also feel like partaking in the fun of it. But you realize that there's also that part of the sport, and there's definitely clientele in the business of that industry. So this definitely creates hype, and I think it boils down to money. And you also mentioned, Ziad, that in the case of the Ronaldo incident, it could have been his friend wanting to do it for a multiple array of reasons. And it could be one of them could have been popularity, so that he could become popular. But actually backfired, because I followed that story quite closely, and a lot of the people responded quite negatively, because if you lose credibility as an individual if you don't put news out there that is factual. So it definitely got to do with money. And I think he might have sold some papers or some information in the short term to gain financially, but I think he loses credibility in the industry, and the next time people will overlook, I'm sure they will overlook him, because it's probably not going to be valid. So you have to balance it out, and rumors will continue to circulate. I think that's part of the game we've come to accept. When we switch on our phones today, we always see this one might be going to this club. Now we have to ask ourselves the question: is it genuine, or is it? And how do we really know? I mean, even some of the big media houses, Sky Sports and just the BBC, Where do they get the information from that makes it credible? And that's, for me, it comes down to there should be a contract development in place between the player as well as the agents, as well as the necessary clubs, so that once there's some type of formal structure in place there, then we can say, yes, this player could be moving. So I'm sure everyone in this panel also follows a lot of sources, and it's important, I think, that we circulate and share those sources that are, that are positive reinforcements in the game, that share credible news to media, and not to share fake news, as we say.
I think when it comes to the news, and I'm on Twitter quite a lot, so the guys that I will share in terms of who are reliable, it would firstly be Fabrizio Romano. I think when he says, here we go, we know it's happening. That's the confirmed case, and it's like never going to be in question, because he's got a reputation which is built up over a long period of time, and he follows quite a lot of transfers, and he discusses on his Twitter page, okay, this transfer is happening, and so on. So he is very reputable. And then I've also, in the last little while, I've started following more of the Athletic UK correspondents, because they follow each club very closely, and each of their journalists are really well known. They've built up a reputation over a long period of time as well. And so if you are following a specific club, for example, follow the person that is covering that club via the Athletic UK, and you get information from them that is very much going to be, reputable, and it's not going to be against what you read in perhaps a newspaper like The Sun, or so one of the other newspapers which are not really worth what they say. So I feel that if you're on Twitter, you got to follow one of those, and then always keep a close eye on journalists who also follow the club closely, because they will have connections with people at the clubs, the various clubs. So if you are a Premier League fan, follow different journalists within the Premier League, and you definitely not go wrong, because chances are, if something's going to happen at the club will notify the journalists, and they will obviously put it out there, or they'll give them some sort of hint that something's happening. So yeah, I think stick to those, because if you're going to follow websites, you're going to follow a lot of other people, then it might be that it's clickbait, or it's people trying to get attention, and that's not what you want. If you want to get down to what's really true and what's not, then follow the right people.
Well, the sources just want to get as close to the club as possible, so if it's journalists, like you were mentioning, the guys that follow the club, normally the beat reporters, they're at the club every day. That's their job. They go to training, they go to press conferences, they're there all the time. So chances are that they're going to develop relationships with the players' agents, with the media, PROs of the clubs, and so on, and they're going to get the news first. What we find, especially in social media, is that one account will report what they saw on another account, which that account got from a different one, and then you suddenly down on the 5th or 6th link of that chain, when ideally for this type of news you want to be close to the top, 1 or 2 links removed from the original source.
It's quite an interesting topic, because transfer rumors, you'll always see them, they'll always be around, but I think it's also important to, like you see, I'd said, try and get as close to the club that you follow as possible, and work from there, because if you're not going to do that, the chances are you're going to fall for rumors that get you excited. Mbappe is going to Newcastle, like last year, for example, when the takeover was potentially happening. You get all excited, and meanwhile nothing's happened. The takeover hasn't happened, so he's not going to move. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll try and get into the top 10 transfers of the transfer window at a later episode, once the transfer window is closed, so look out for that. But I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.